So, Sarah Palin is getting back into politics. Hello, and welcome to Sweet Home California. My name is Jennifer. And for those of you that are millennials and maybe just started voting the last couple sessions or whatever, you may not know who Sarah Palin is. But she ran in 2008 as John McCain's running mate. She was at that time the governor of Alaska. She had 5 kids. Her husband worked on oil rigs, I believe, in even far north of Alaska. Um, he participated in Iditarod. Their youngest son, Trig, has Down syndrome. They had 4 older children. Um, one of their daughters, I believe, had a child out of wedlock, got married, then they got divorced. Sarah and her husband are now divorced as of a couple years ago. And it just seems like the whole publicity thing of Sarah's political career has kind of had a terrible toll on the family. So, is this a good thing for her to get into politics at this point? I mean, representing conservative values. Um, I'd like to know your comments down below. Um, did you know that Alaska only has one representative? So, the previous congressman from Alaska apparently served nearly 50 years, and he just recently passed away. God rest his soul. And that's the reason why this is coming up for discussion. That Sarah is throwing her hat in the ring to be the next Alaska congresswoman. Um, but yeah, there's only one, and apparently there are 7 states that only have one congressional representative. Let me show you which those are. Hold on just a moment. So, those states are Alaska, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Vermont, and Delaware. All only have just one congressional representative. And just to talk about that a little bit, it's like, well, why do they only have one? I mean, the states keep getting bigger and bigger, more and more population. Well, it turns out that based on a law from 1929, I believe, it capped the number of seats to 435. And temporarily, when Alaska and Hawaii were added to the United States, it briefly went up to 437, and then they redistricted things and it went back down to 435. But apparently, we are one of the countries that has pretty low representation. In other words, the number of people that are represented by each congressman is like around 739,000 people, which we're only beaten out by India, which I think has one representative per like 2 million, but they've got like 1 billion people in their country. So this shows you here how the house was growing in size. As the population got bigger, it would grow after every census, and then it took them like 10 years to try and figure out what they were going to do after the 1920 census, and so they came up with this bill that they were just going to cap it at 435, and then that's why you have some states losing congressional seats while others gain them after each census now. So like after the 2020 census, California lost a congressional seat and Texas gained 2 because of the exodus out of California and people moving into Texas. And this chart here shows how this is where it got stopped at the 435 mark, and that our state the populations have more than tripled since we've been capped at 435. So they say that the reason why they want to be at 435 is because well, first of all, the building is only so big, and being able to manage that many people is difficult. But on the other hand, you're that much further removed from our representatives. So yeah, if you're only one voice out of 761,000 is the average. Now, obviously, some states have more, some have less. For instance, Delaware, which only has one, they've got a state population of around 900,000. So that's one representative for nearly 1 million people. But the thing is that if you then split it up and then they had 2, then they'd be way below the national average, and then they'd be overrepresented, right? But this chart here shows some of the differences. So as I said, India is the only one that's higher than us, and they've got, it's like 2.4 million people per one representative. But then you've got, after us, it goes down like a rock. So Brazil is one for every 412,000. I believe Canada, yeah, Canada is one for every 111,000 people. United Kingdom is one for every 101,000 people. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think we should get more representatives in there? If we went down to where like Canada is or something like that, we would have nearly 1,000. We'd have over 800 representatives. Where are you going to put them? The cost. Congress just and the Senate just raised their pay by 20%. We'd be spending all this money just on our representatives. So I don't like that idea necessarily that would happen. Because apparently these people also get like lifetime money every year. Even you just serve one term in Congress, and you can then not have to work for the rest of your life because you're going to get your salary. Of course, they still do. They still want more money, but still, we got to have some changes. If we're going to have more representation, that we would definitely need changes. But I don't know. There are definitely negatives to only having 435, but then there's pluses also in terms of like just overall cost to the country. But anyhow, I found out this information on a site called 538.com. I'll put a link down below. They also have some other interesting things that you might want to take a look at. For instance, they've got some charts, like does your member of Congress vote with or against Biden? So they have this chart here, and it shows how all the blues are staying there. Those are all the people who voted with Biden. These are the people who don't vote with Biden. So here's all the Republicans. So you can see here all the people who are voting with Biden. So this is the House chart. So you can see there's two. Those are both California people, voting with Biden. This is like showing the states Biden won. So these are all the people that's not their fault. They don't vote with Biden necessarily that much. So this is less than 40% voting with Biden, but that's a lot. Voting with Biden 40% of the time, and that's over 50% of the time. And he's Pennsylvania, so I don't know if we can primary him, but Pennsylvania, you need to watch out for this guy. No point in keeping him around. So here's the Senate. So this is over 50%. In the Senate, oh my gosh, look at all the red that is voting over 50% with Biden. Yeah, so Mitt Romney, of course, not surprised. Who's this? Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. Ugh. Susan Collins, she's over 70% voting with Biden. That's ridiculous. Rob Portman, I don't even know who he is, but okay. Ohio, he's voting way too much with, and Lindsey Graham, not surprised about that either. So yeah, all these people who are over the 50% voting with Biden, if Biden has some good ideas, I'm not opposed to voting with Biden if he had good ideas, but I'd like to know what good ideas there were, because I haven't really seen anything that I've been excited to be on Biden's side, anything that he's come up with. Anyhow, I started off this thing talking about Sarah Palin. I think she's a very dynamic person, dynamic speaker, and I really wanted to see her as the first woman vice president. I think she would have been so much better than Kamala. She's bright, she's articulate. I think that the media just really did a total trash job on her, and I think that they are directly responsible for a lot of the troubles that her family had since then. It seems like she's still in the fight, though. She's still willing to serve, and so if she has announced her candidacy. I think there's some 40 different people that are running, but of course she's got name recognition, And as I said, she is very articulate. She is definitely conservative. She does know that the Russians are not our friends, and she was talking about that back in 2008. And uh, I don't remember who said it, but somebody was talking about, the 80s called and they want their foreign policy back, basically mocking Sarah Palin that she would consider the Russians to be our adversaries. Well, who's got the last laugh on that now? Unfortunately, it's Sarah, because truth has won out that the Russians are not our friends, and they never have been, and they still aren't. But is she going to be an effective congresswoman? That is really what the question is. So let me know your thoughts down below. If you're in Alaska, would you vote for her? If would you like to see her run on a national level again? Let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you next time. God bless. Bye.